Good morning. Rise in freedom. I'm Austin Peterson. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America show on the For Liberty Network. Happy Election Day Eve. Or for those who celebrate. Less than 48 hours left until the polls close on 2024's Election Day. The battleground states look the tightest they've ever been in U.S. history. And some polls that have been coming out showing things like Iowa going for the Democrats. Roll. Grab Scooby snacks. Grab a Scooby snack and a box of Founding Flavors coffee, and it's time to lock in. We've got an incredible show for you here today. I am your host. It is Freedom Land, the For Liberty Network. 3 shows on the For Liberty Network. Will we have an election night show? Yes, we will. The Liberty Tonight boys are stepping up. I got the morning shift. No, I'm not going to do some election night thing, be up all night and then have to do another show. There's going to be plenty of people who are going to be going to sleep at night because they have normal jobs. They're normal Americans. They're going to get up the next morning and they're going to turn on the Wake Up America show, and Austin will be there to talk about the results. And we might have them, or we might not. We might not have the results. We might all be looking at Arizona while they count for like 10 days. Shenanigans. Call the shenanigans before anybody else called shenanigans. Good morning. Glad you're here. Settle in, get yourself something to drink here, and press that like button. And if today is the first time watching the Wake Up America show, you got to click the follow button. Come back and join us here Mondays through Fridays, 7 to 9 a.m. Central Time. And we'd be glad to have you come hang out and be friends, especially when we're live, for those who like to listen later. Maxim Lott will join us this morning at 7:30 a.m. Central Time. He's got a lot to say. And he's going to talk to us a little bit about the polls. Is it men who will be responsible for Donald Trump losing?
No, God!
Men?
No, God,
we're looking at some of the early voting numbers, some of the data that's starting to come in, and it's not looking good for the boys. Let's hear it for the boys, because if they show up to vote, Trump will win. If you don't show up to vote, men, and I know what you're saying, ladies are like, we got to say this too. Just hold on, ladies. Just calm down. Calm your tits. All right. Just calm down. We'll talk about you in a little bit. All right. It's about the boys. The disparity between men and women voting is like 10% in some areas of what we're seeing in battleground states, especially. And the betting markets have flipped. Maxim Lott, he's the expert. He'll be with us this morning at 7:30 a.m. Central Time. We got a lot of flavor for you on the show today. A lot of distinct local fare. If you enjoy liberty, that is the Libertarian case for Trump. Brian Piotr, the host of Liberty Tonight, will be joining us this morning at 8 a.m. Central Time. Brian Piotr. You know why Brian is amazing? Because Brian is the only libertarian at the Libertarian presidential convention who nominated Donald Trump to be the candidate for the Libertarian Party. Now, he was prescient. He pulled out his magic 8-ball and he saw the future, which was that all of these libertarians in recent weeks have been jumping on board the Donald Trump train. These were the people who were at the Libertarian convention. They were trying to do a takeover of the LP, but instead they handed it over to the trans the kids candidate. And now we have, well, perhaps it's better even for Donald Trump, some of them are saying. And yet, wouldn't it have been better if everybody had listened to Brian Piotr at the LP convention? Wouldn't it have been more interesting election? Wouldn't we be in a better position tomorrow if Donald Trump had been the nominee for the LP? Well, let's ask the chair of the Libertarian Party, Angela McCardle, who will be with us this morning at 8:30 a.m. Central Time. I was invited to write an op-ed this week for Human Events magazine. That was the one that that's the one that Jack Posobiec writes about the Libertarian case for Trump. And I've made that case. It will be dropping either today or tomorrow, humanevents.com. You get a sneak preview here on the Wake Up America show. It's a great day to be a liberty lover, provided Donald Trump wins the presidency tomorrow. But that means that we men have got to get out and vote. We've got a lot to talk about today. I've got a million billion clips, not enough time to get through them. Let me just ramble off things that I want to hit today, and I will try if I have the time. I want to talk about my friend Lily Tang Williams in New Hampshire, who went viral last week during her debate for in New Hampshire for a member of the House of Representatives. And in broken English, with her strong Chinese accent, she brought the Democrat to heel. It was amazing. Raw. The crowd was going wild. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. endorsed her campaign. She was on stage at a giant J.D. Vance event in New Hampshire. It was just an unbelievable. In the last 48 hours, Lily for Liberty has stood up and become a national celebrity. I'm so excited and thankful to see it. Lily for Liberty, I've known you for decades now. I support you fully. Oh, let's go, Lily for Liberty. Did you know that some people were throwing her under the bus as recently as 6 weeks ago? People saying, oh, we don't want anything to do with her. And now here she is in the Republican Party, become a star. And I could say, I knew you when. Good for you, Lily. The naysayers, because they don't mean a thing. This is what style we bring. It's the Wake Up America show. It looks like we got a nice feature today on Rumble. Hey, guys, welcome to the show. Yeah, I know. It's a lot of energy in the morning. Start drinking that coffee. We're all morning people here on the Wake Up America show. And click like and subscribe to the channel if today's your first time watching this show. So we've got that to hit. Kamala Harris goes on Saturday Night Live. Do I have the clip? Yes. Will I have time to play it? I will do my best. We will discuss. The government killed a squirrel. A Karen called the cops on the squirrel. Is the squirrel a psyop? Is it a distraction? Is it the CIA and the NSA using their powers of mind control and the fluoride in the water supply that Robert F. Kennedy Jr. wants to get rid of to turn us all into brainwashed idiots? So we're all collectively on the right going, squirrel! No, it couldn't be that. It couldn't be that. It must be a legitimate tale. It must be completely legit. I saw it on the internet. It must be true. But is it? We'll talk about that and more. Men for Donald Trump. Women for Harris. Is that how things will shake out? Donald Trump is pushing to boost turnout with young male voters in the election. And let's be honest, the ladies are kind of turned off by our machismo. They don't like how men like us are bringing sexy back. They don't like it.
How dare you?
There's a little bit too much testosterone in the punch bowl. Donald Trump is pinning his political future on winning the votes of disaffected young men, like many of us watching the Wake Up America show, you and me. Kamala Harris is doing the same with female voters. It's a war of the sexes. In a race that's been defined by a stark gender gap, each candidate is focused on supercharging turnout among the group they most need to win over. And a boost of just a couple of points with either group could decide the race. The final NBC national poll of the contest shows Trump winning men by 18 percentage points. Yeah. And Harris winning women by 16, and the race tied overall. This is a war of the sexes. We'll have Camelia Peterson on tomorrow on Election Day. That's going to be a great show, too. So you want to click the follow button now on the channel, so you can come back, get an alert, come back and watch us tomorrow morning on election morning. You'll love our coverage then with all of our stalwarts. But today it is all about the men and the libertarian case for Donald Trump. Amen and hallelujah.
It's going to be America first, okay? America first.
In about 15 minutes, Maxim Lott, now you're a man, is going to be joining us to break down the disparity of the early votes between men and women. It's as much as 10 points. And so Max will talk about that. And then the election betting, strange betting that's been going on. You don't want to miss it. And then, of course, we've got Brian Piotr at 8, host of Liberty Tonight. And at 8:30, we've got Angela McCardle, the chair of the Libertarian Party. We're going to talk about the Libertarian case for Trump with Brian, and that'll bleed over perfectly into Angela McCardle. It's going to be a great show today. Great show. You do not want to miss a minute. So this Sunday, yesterday, Harris campaigned in Michigan after prominent women surrogates like Michelle Obama and Gretchen Whitmer held weekend events for her. Lady Gaga, Oprah Winfrey, Katy Perry are among the female celebrities who are campaigning for her today. Trump campaigned yesterday in Pennsylvania and North Carolina. He was also scheduled to hold a rally in Georgia last night. I don't know if he made it there. For Trump, the challenge is that young men in particular vote at far lower rates than many other demographic groups. Dudes, I am going to beat you up to I'm going to commit violence against some of you men and grab you by the ear and drag you to the polls. If you do not show up, you have to, as like they're voting with their vaginas, you need to vote with your penises. Excuse me? What kind of show is this? What did I walk in on? You walked in on the Wake Up America show, and I'm your host, Austin Peterson. If you don't like penis, you're in the wrong place. Well, I guess it's okay to like penises as long as it's your own penis. Austin, where you go with this? Stop. Stop. It's going too far. We do go too far sometimes. Yeah, but the Democrats know that they are not getting male votes. That's why they run patronizing ads like these. It's not because they don't want our votes. They just want to taunt us. And many of you guys aren't paying attention, and you're not paying, and you're not going to the polls in high enough numbers.
Come on, boys. Let's make America great again. It's your turn, buddy.
Before you cast your vote in this election, think about how it'll impact the people you care about the most.
Daddy!
Remember, you can vote any way you want, and no one will ever know.
Do your patriotic duty.
You bet I did, brother.
What happens in the booth stays in the booth.
Yay, I can't wait for my daughter to murder my grandchildren. I'm a real man. I want my beautiful daughter to have as many abortions as she can. Just get up in there and slice and dice her up, Doc. I love the government. Yeah. I'm a real man. I'm not a eunuch in any way, shape, or form. I'm a real man voting for Donald Trump. And that is really what it is. It is about abortion. Is it not about abortion? Isn't that what it is entirely? These commercials are so cringe. Thank you, Cecilia. Hey guys, I don't want to kick myself in the nads here by telling you this, but also I feel an obligation to do so. There's no bonus content today. We have too many guests. But please do support the Wake Up America show. And the best way to do that is to go to forlibertyshop.com. I created some amazing new merchandise. The Department of Government Efficiency. Have you heard? Ron Paul, Elon Musk teaming out. They're looking for field agents. They're recruiting today. Are you going to join the Department of Government Efficiency and check out, you can become an agent today, an efficiency enforcement agent, by getting your official Doge field agent hoodie available exclusively at forlibertyshop.com. Now, I know the people who saw this over the weekend, they may have been like, oh, it's just an official seal on the front of the hoodie. We also have it in a t-shirt. But it's not just the official seal of the Department of Government Efficiency, where it says in there, "In Musk we trust." But if you took the time to look at the back of the hoodie, you can see that it lists there, just like the hated FBI that we're going to abolish, it says on the back of your hoodie that you are an official Doge field agent. Where can you get these incredible products? What if I don't want a hoodie and I just want a t-shirt? Well, you can get a shirt version at forlibertyshop.com right at the very top of the shop. Get your official Doge field agent tee right now. Support the revolution. For Trump, the challenge is that young men in particular vote at lower rates than many other demographic groups. They are more likely than older generations and their female peers to be disconnected from politics, and they are increasingly disillusioned with the country's institutions, according to researchers and election analysts. This is big. This is huge. These men, the thing is, the psyops have been very effective against men. Men are feeling disillusioned. They're feeling out of touch. They're feeling as if their government doesn't represent them. Well, damn it, boys. This is why you have to vote. This is why you have to show up. This is why you need to be a part of the institutions. You have got to follow Elon Musk and follow Donald Trump and Vivek Ramaswamy to victory tomorrow. Men, I'm looking at you. I'm looking at you, man. Youth voting increased in the 2020 presidential election, but it paled compared with the share of older voters who showed up at the polls. In 2020, 18 to 24-year-olds were the least likely age group to vote, with just over half that cohort voting that year. In that age group, fewer men than women said they voted in 2020. In contrast, about three-quarters of Americans ages 65 to 74 reported voting in 2020. Jumpit Nakaporn, 23, he is a consultant in Milwaukee, went to Trump's rally. He says, I've had to ask a couple of my friends to get out and vote. He says, they're like, do I have to vote? Is it a good use of my time? It is a good use of your time. Get out there. What is wrong with you? And you see so many of these accounts, man, you got to be really skeptical of some of these accounts that you'll see online on social media telling you not to vote, especially when it's like right-wing accounts or libertarian accounts. Some of them, I assume, are good people, but many of them are acting to try and to get you to feel disenfranchised. They want to continue your disenfranchisement so that you do not seek enfranchisement. You must put on the beeswax in your ears. You must avoid the sirens' calls. Beware them big socialist titties. They are meant to hypnotize, then enslave your ass. You need to get up tomorrow morning or go now. If it's early voting, you need to get up tomorrow morning, you need to hit the gym and before the polls open, and then still be at the polls before they open tomorrow morning. So you get your chance. You get enfranchised, right? You show up, you pull that lever and you do what it is. It means if you do not vote for Donald Trump, you are not a real man. Can I just get an amen in the chat from all the men? I question your manhood, and I am not one to do that. Listen, I'm wearing a shirt that looks like it should be on the floor of a bowling alley carpet in 1985. Okay, so obviously, I think, you know, if I wanted to fit into the stereotype of a man, I'd get the beard and do the oil and have a gun and be looking scary with a hat and all this shit, right? So obviously, I'm typically not the type of person to be like, hey, your masculinity is in question here, but I am calling your masculinity into question. Absolutely, if you vote for the Democrat. Absolutely, if you vote for that libertarian Chase Oliver who wants to allow transgender surgeries in prisons. What the hell? What are you doing? What is wrong with you? I call your manhood into question if you don't vote this year. It's the Wake Up America show, and I'm Austin Peterson, damn it. Who dat? You're watching the Wake Up America show. It's time for you to figure out what we're all about. I'm AP for Liberty. That's what this channel is named after. You click follow, you will find me again tomorrow morning on Election Day. We'll keep the coverage up nice and hot and sweet and ready to serve like some French fries fried in beef tallow. Yes. In less than 10 minutes, Maxim Lott joins us to talk about unusual betting activity that has turned the tide of the favor of the betting markets in favor of Kamala Harris. He's going to break that down, as well as the voting disparities in early voting that we're seeing, and that poll that showed that in Iowa that Kamala Harris is going to win Iowa. Excuse me. Excuse me. No. No offense. Where you at, Norm?
No offense, but it sounds like some fucking commie gobbledygook.
Exactly. Thank you. Throughout his presidential campaign, Donald Trump has taken pains to appeal to young men from showing up at a sneaker convention in Pennsylvania, which I basically mirrored his strategy. If Donald Trump hadn't done that, I wouldn't have made the Javier Milei Afueras, which became international hits, especially down in Argentina, where they loved the Afueras. But I sold Javier Milei sneakers after the Trump sneaker event to people in Japan. Can you believe it? about a Javier Milei state visit to the White House. He sits down. He has dinner with Donald Trump, Tulsi Gabbard, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., and they're all, what are they eating? McDonald's. And they're eating McDonald's that are with French fries fried in beef tallow, and they're drinking Diet Cokes, and Robert F. Kennedy Jr. screaming at everybody about the aspartame, and it's going to give you cancer, and then there might be fluoride that they used in the water to make the Coca-Cola. And then Elon Musk and Ron Paul are like, they walk into dinner at the White House, and they just got done at their day jobs at the Department of Government Efficiency, shutting down the Department of Education. Visualize it, man. Visualize it. Eye on the prize. Don't look at the squirrel. Don't look at the squirrel. Don't look at the squirrel. Don't listen to the squirrel. Don't pay attention to the squirrel. Don't fall for the psyops. Don't let anything stop you from showing up to vote for Donald Trump. On Thursday, Donald Trump received the endorsement of Jake Paul, who has 20 million subscribers on YouTube. Not as many as Taylor Swift, but we're fighting, aren't we, boys? We are. We're fighting. That strategy could help offset Harris's big advantage with female voters, but it risks widening that gap should Trump's macho rhetoric and crude comments alienate women, writes the Wall Street Journal. Ah, boo. Shut up, you pansies. This is the Wall Street Journal.
Do not come. Do not come.
I'm going to come.
Yeah, that's right, man. That's right, we are. We're going to come to the polls tomorrow. We're going to just all over the place. We're going to vote all over the place. Throughout his presidential campaign, Trump has been appealing to young men. UFC fights, sneaker conventions, Joe Rogan's podcast. It's time for us to name and shame those fellow men who aren't getting out to vote. It is time for us to get involved in a little bit of harassment. No, don't harass people. Don't harass them. No, don't do that. Get them off the couch. Get them out to vote. Get them off the job site if they're working the job, which most of them do. Andy Opperman says, damn, I'm going to vote Trump even harder now. Yeah. Shame is a powerful motivator. We've got Maxim Lott joining us live in less than 5. I need to go get him right now, but real quick, I have to get everything set up. There's what do we have for her, Johnny? What do we have for her today, Johnny? Let's take a look. Let's take a listen. What do we have? What do we have? What do we have? Man, that is just wild. Okay, hold on one second, guys. Speaking of betting markets and Maxim Lott, this is perfect. Yes, there it is. Here we go. Polymarket. So Polymarket, Maxim's going to come join us here in Live in 5 to talk about it after this ad. It's the world's largest prediction market. And unlike polls or media headlines, it gives you real-time odds on who's winning based on what thousands of people predict will happen. Instead of waiting for different poll reports that come out days after events or endless commentary, you can see the actual chances of each candidate winning updated by the minute. For example, right now, Harris has a 51% chance. That means if the election were held today, she'd win 51 out of 100 times. That's just straight up probabilities. Start checking polymarket.com right now at polymarket.com/elections to see how the odds are shifting, and definitely keep it open as we get closer to election night. You'll have a clearer picture before anyone else. You can hit the link in the description and start tracking the election in real time with Polymarket. We've got Maxim Lott joining us in less than 5 minutes. Don't go away. He's going to break down the Polymarket odds, talk about the unusual betting activity. He's going to talk about the gender voting disparity. He's going to talk about the fact that Democrats really believe that they are going to win Iowa. That is such cope. We'll be right back on the Wake Up America show on the For Liberty Network.
Haunted by high prices and big government? Don't be a ghost of your former self this Halloween. We've got shirts that'll keep the ghouls and the government off your back. Inflation's scarier than any haunted house, but hey, why not turn it into a costume? Or how about our spooky government shirt? Guaranteed to spook anyone who's afraid of too much power. But if you're feeling real edgy, nothing says Halloween like our Michael Myers No Lives Matter shirt. Cause when it comes to big government, we all get slashed. At forlibertyshop.com, we believe in freedom, not fear. So grab your libertarian Halloween gear before the government takes an extra bite out of your wallet. or your candy. ForLibertyShop.com. Let's make Halloween tax-free.
Hello, this is Barack Obama, and let me tell you why Austin Peterson stinks, and you should never pay attention to anything that he has to say. First of all, he's a libertarian, and we all know libertarians are idiots.
Kamala did what Kamala always does. She just put her head down and she went to work. Kamala did what Kamala always does. She just put her head down and she went to work.
I don't know if that means what you think it means there, Doug Emhoff. Good morning. Rise and freedom. What the heck? Welcome to the Wake Up America show. I'm your host, Austin Peterson. Kamala did what she always does. She put her head down and she went to work. All right, well, let's get to work. We've got a great show for you today. Maxim Lott joining us live in just a minute. We've got two more guests as well, though. You don't want to miss a single moment of the Wake Up America show. Brian Piotr makes the Libertarian case for Trump at 8 a.m. Central. Then the chair of the Libertarian Party, who met with Donald Trump recently, talked to him about Ross Ulbricht. Angela McCardle joins us at 8:30 a.m. Central Time to talk about what's at stake tomorrow for her candidate. But who's her candidate? Are men going to be the difference in this election, meaning the lack of men showing up to vote for Donald Trump? Is Kamala Harris really going to win Iowa? And what's happening in the betting markets? We've got one man with the plan. His name is Maxim Lott. He's live right now. Good morning, Maxim. Thanks so much for joining us here on the Wake Up America show.
Hey, Austin. Great to be here with you.
All right, Maxim, what do you think is most compelling about those three topics? I'll just let you choose to start there. The Iowa poll, which looks like a lot of cope. Men not showing up apparently in early voting at any 10 points lower than women, or anything else. There's so much.
We can start with the early voting. I was looking at this yesterday and I saw some, I know this will shock you and your viewers, misleading headlines that were suggesting, Kamala's running away with this because women are going to the polls early and men are not. And if you look at the data, it's about a 10-point lead for women, so 55-45. That's pretty consistent across all the swing states. So naively, you could look at that and be like, boy, women are showing up, men aren't. Harris is going to win because of abortion. But the problem is, if you look at past elections, it was the exact same ratio, like 55-45. If you dig further into the numbers, these past elections, 2020, Trump lost, but he lost by very narrow margin. And if you dig further into the numbers, the big change has been in party registration of the people early voting. So Trump has really narrowed the gap. Democrats are still leading. They're still more favorable to early voting, but that's some of the biggest shift there.
So it's tighter than anyone who is telling us about things like blowouts would really want us to believe, because everybody was talking over the weekend about this poll from this very respectable pollster who was saying that Kamala Harris would win Iowa.
Yeah, and I have to give it some credit in that the betting odds moved on this new poll. So Iowa, they had it at 95% for Trump. They moved that down to 80% when this poll came out, showing Harris up in Iowa. And they moved Trump's overall odds down from like 57 to 53. So it definitely spooked the markets. That's fair to say. And it's because they're reading into it a potential narrative where it's like abortion is the key to this election, like it was in 2022. And that's why Harris is going to win and win Iowa. And if she wins Iowa, she's going to win a lot of other states too. So, Trump supporters better hope this poll was just out to lunch. A different poll came out the same day showing Trump up 9 in Iowa. So Trump says it's suppression. It might be.
There's a lot of weirdness here, and there also are psyops, Maxim. And as you and I know about how polls work, they can be used to try and condition how people believe. They're conditioned to try and tell people what to think rather than telling you what people think, right?
Yeah. Now, the one tricky thing there is the woman who did this poll, who led it, last election, she said Trump's going to win Iowa by 8 points. And that was a break from the consensus in the pro-Trump direction. She was right. So that's why I think markets and people are giving her a little bit of extra credibility. Of course, that doesn't mean, it's right.
Yeah, I mean, I've been around in enough elections at this point now, Maxim, that I have seen people who had credibility that absolutely torched their credibility from one election to the next. They were number one, they were on, but nobody has had a 100% prediction rate, have they?
No, absolutely not. Yeah, it's tough. And by the way, I was digging into the New York Times polling crosstabs, like all the details there. And there's no evidence that women or young women are more enthusiastic about this election than men or anyone else. So I don't see this abortion narrative playing out.
Well, we hope not. But I mean, just from a narrative perspective, though, Maxim, it has very much felt like this year is somewhat of a proxy war of the sexes between men and women, at least from a narrative perspective. We can drill down on some of the numbers, and I've got some data from the Wall Street Journal this morning that I'm looking at, and from ABC News polls, at least narrative-wise, it does appear. I mean, look at how Donald Trump has marketed his campaign with Hulk Hogan ripping off his shirt, going on Joe Rogan. Like, he's doubling, tripling down on men, and Kamala Harris is doing the same, doubling, tripling on women. And women do, by, you say, a slight majority, vote more Democrat. I mean, from a narrative perspective, it is kind of a war of the sexes, is it not, Max? I mean, this has been kind of brewing for a while.
Yeah, absolutely. The gender gap has never been wider. So, Republicans have to hope that men turn out at about the same rate women do, and then they'll be okay. But, we do see this early voting lead with women, which has been in every election. And I think women are just a little more conscientious. This is why they make up 60% of college degrees now and all this stuff. And so they're more likely to vote early. Men will partly make up that difference if the past is any guide on election day. But yeah, this election could definitely come down to whether men and young men actually turn out to vote, or if they just listen to Joe Rogan and, turn it off on election day.
Interesting. Now, talk to us. You're the co-founder of electionbettingodds.com. Talk to us a little bit about some of the betting activity that's going on, because for a while Trump roared ahead, and then maybe people hedging their bets in the last final days. There has been a somewhat of a shift in the betting markets.
Yep. So yeah, 10 days ago, Trump was at around 63%. So that's a clear favorite. And he fell down to almost a coin flip, like 51% yesterday morning. He's back up now. They've kind of re-corrected. He's at 55% now, which is like, slight margin. Means if you ran this election 100 times, Trump would win 55 of those times. So it's very close, but they've been looking at every poll coming out. They've been looking at the early voting data. On average, they don't think Iowa is going to go for Harris. But Michigan and Wisconsin, they're now putting those in Harris's camp. Pennsylvania probably decides this thing. It's at 56%, basically the same as Trump's odds of winning. Trump is looking better in the southern states like Georgia, Arizona. They're feeling pretty good about him there.
On a personal note, did it send a thrill up your leg at all to see Elon Musk say we should put Ron Paul in the Department of Government Efficiency?
That was fun. Yeah, yeah. So Ron Paul getting in his last hurrah there.
I mean, there's just something poetic about the idea that he would return to Washington, D.C. when he never passed a bill when he was in Congress, right? He ran for president, but he didn't win, right? So he was a congressman, but he didn't get to actually do what he wanted to do. If he could return to Washington, D.C., this time with a long scythe, like the Reaper, death, and to finally defeat his old enemy, there's something of a grand epic tale in that. It's like almost Lord of the Rings worthy, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And yeah, he's 89 years old, almost Gandalf's age. And yeah, it would be kind of a beautiful finishing of his career.
Yeah, no, it certainly would, and I'm very excited for it. I'm Austin Peterson, and I'm speaking to Maxim Lott. We've known each other for quite some time, about a decade or so, approximately. And Maxim is a producer for John Stossel. He's also the co-founder of electionbettingodds.com. He also does tracking of bias in artificial intelligence, which is another really important project. He also writes a blog called Maximum Truth. And is that maximumtruth.org? Or .com, Maxim?
Yeah, MaximumTruth.org. It's a Substack. You can sign up. And just today I had a post about the details in the betting, like which markets are most reliable, that kind of thing.
Yes, Maxim is the guy that you approach when you need somebody to write down the numbers and get the data right and the analytics correct. He's got a huge brain, and he uses it at MaximumTruth.org. So make sure you follow that Substack, because I read it every week to try and see what he's up to and what's new in his world. And I'm thankful that he would join us this morning and follow us here. Make sure you follow him over on X at Maxim Lott. You can see the spelling of his name right underneath his handsome face over there to my left. All right, Maxim. So last part of this interview here. Any more gut feelings? Has anything changed? Your internal magic 8-ball, what is it telling you about what we're going to see tomorrow? Will we even know the results tomorrow?
It's a good question. I was looking at when the results will come in based on previous elections. If it's not close, maybe we know by like 11 p.m. If it's pretty close, we know by 3 or 4 a.m. If it's really close, of course, it could take a week or weeks. So we'll see. My gut says that Trump will win. I'm looking at, I feel like people are less embarrassed to support him. I feel like there's just more mainstream people out there saying they want him to win. So I think that'll make a difference.
Thank you for that white pill. I've been trying to convince my wife Stephanie to stay white pilled. She's been giving me the black pills. She's like, I just think that the women are going to vote for Kamala and it's just going to be all over. And I'm like, I can't take that. I got to stay positive. We got to keep white pilled here, Maxim. Thank you very much. Even if it's if you're going to the final battle, right? It's kind of like that scene from Game of Thrones. I don't know if you know it, but the Battle of the Bastards, when Jon Snow goes out to fight against the enemies. He's standing there all alone out in the field, and he just raises his sword as the horses are stampeding down. And then at the last second, his troops came in and gave battle. It sort of feels at that level of greatness, like Shakespearean level greatness, like Julius Caesar or Hamlet or Macbeth. It might be Macbeth. Hopefully it's not Macbeth.
I was telling someone this election feels bigger than 2020 or 2016.
Yes.
And I think it's like the third act. It's like you've read a 1,200 page book and you're in the final chapter on this election, and it's like there's an assassination, unprecedented dropout, a switching of there's just so much going on, and it's like we're gonna find out what happens tomorrow.
I know, and it's if to play on the whole novel idea, it's kind of like an Ayn Rand novel to some extent, right? You've got there to the end, and all of the bad guys are like characters, the bad guys from Ayn Rand's novels. They're people who do things like murder innocent little squirrels in people's houses. Like they. They want to regulate Elon Musk. They complain about Elon Musk spending money on elections, but they outraise and outspend the Republicans by 3x, 5x? It's some huge distinction.
Yeah. Elon Musk is really kind of the most prototypical Randian hero that I've seen in real life. And it's no surprise that he's jumped into this election.
Yeah, he's like John Galt.
Yeah, it's very impressive what he's accomplished.
Yeah.
The Republicans have narrowed the spending gap a little bit, by the way. Like last cycle, they were outspent more than 2-1 in many states. And now they're kind of like down 50% or so. Some of this tech money from people like Elon has helped.
Maxim, your contributions to this program over the last few weeks leading up to this campaign have been very generous. We're very thankful for this opportunity. We try and plug you as much as we can. Any final thoughts before we go off into that good night tomorrow?
People should just remember to vote and to call their friends and see if they're voting. And the polls have it dead heat, and turnout is going to decide it ultimately.
There we go. Turnout will decide. Maxim Lott, follow him at Maxim Lott over on X. Read his blog, MaximumTruth.org. That's .org. Maxim, thanks very much for your time, sir.
Thank you, Austin. Have a good day.
You too.
Group of mega donors, bigger donors than we ever have seen, the likes of Elon Musk, who's campaigning more and harder than any business person, who might end up with an official or unofficial role in a Donald Trump administration. What do you think about all this, and what are people telling you?
Well, I think it's really scary territory. We have some billionaires in this country, and if you look at the top 10 donors to Donald Trump, they've given over $1 billion to him.
Just the top 5.
Yeah, I mean, and that was not counting how much more Musk has spent. Musk is in Pennsylvania. He thinks because he can do rockets and electric cars that he can figure out how to get people to vote. But he's got a hard assignment, because the people he's trying to get to vote are low propensity voters. They're people that don't vote all the time. In fact, this bro thing that they've done, let's get the young men. Well, the reason they're bros is because they don't care about voting.
Yeah, if you're not leaving your basement, you're not going to vote.
Yeah, they're really hard to get to the voting place.
Is that how it's going to be, bros? Is that how it's going to be? You going to let the Greta Thunbergs? You going to let Claire McCaskill? All this whole bro thing, you're gonna let her have the final word there, gentlemen? Are you gonna not show up to vote tomorrow? It's time, men, for us to get out and take our rightful place as leaders in society, to lead as men and to do what's right for our country. Good morning, I'm Austin Peterson. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America show. We are grateful to have you. It's a fun show, silly shirts, serious coverage, and we host this show 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. 7 to 9 a.m. Central Time is the schedule. It looks like we got featured on the front page, so I owe a big thank you to Rumble. Thanks, guys. Thank you. If today is the first time that you have ever watched the Wake Up America show, I need to capture you now. If you can hear my voice, click the follow button underneath the show's video. If you're watching us over on mobile and you're watching the live chat, just X out of it real quick and make sure you click the like button, of course, and then follow my stream. It's AP for Liberty. You can see I got 7,200 followers, but I could use one more. Will that be you? Do it now, and you can find us again tomorrow morning at the same time. When you see the guests that I have planned for you and the coverage that you'll get, I know you'll be grateful, and I know you'll come back. 2 more guests on this show today. At 8 a.m. Central Time, about 12 minutes approximately from now, we're going to speak to Brian Piotr. He is the only member of the Libertarian Party at their nominating convention who stood up. Well, you know what? As a matter of fact, Austin, don't tell, show. Here he is, Brian Piotr, who's joining. He's the host of Liberty Tonight on our For Liberty network. Here he is at the LP convention. Take a look and a listen to what this did.
I'm Brian Piotr, New Mexico. I would like to nominate the greatest president of our time, Donald J. Trump.
Well, they booed him.
Point of parliamentary inquiry. Can anyone tell me on credentials if Donald J. Trump is able to accept the nomination?
Okay, pause. First of all, Angela McCardle, she will be on the show as well. She's the chair of the Libertarian Party. They booed him. How many of those people that were booing him then would be cheering for him today? Because I have seen so many in recent weeks of the Johnny-come-latelys, the summer soldiers and the sunshine patriots who in time of crisis shrink from their duties, now jumping on board because being a patriot is a difficult thing. What was it that let me just look up the Mark Twain patriotism cost nothing. Let me get the quote right. As a fellow Missourian, Samuel Clemens, aka Mark Twain, said, "In the beginning of a change, which tomorrow there will be, the patriot is a scarce man and brave and hated and scorned. When his cause succeeds, the timid join him, for then it costs nothing to be a patriot." Are you a patriot? I was a delegate for Donald Trump this year, baby. Brian Piotr, he's a patriot. He's the host of Liberty Tonight on my network, the For Liberty Network. You see that bug up there? We call that a bug in the industry. ForLibertyNetwork.com. That's our locals page, and it will take you to where all of our content is hosted. If you like Brian Piotr, you'll be able to find him. He's on Rumble streaming on Thursday nights. But this week they're doing an election night special. 4LN, you see us over there? I can't get my finger up in there. It eats my finger raw. 4LN, ForLibertyNetwork.com. They're going to do an election night special tomorrow night, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Central Time at ForLibertyNetwork.com. So if you want to watch our network's coverage of the election tomorrow night, you can do so at ForLibertyNetwork.com, and you'll find the boys there live tomorrow night. But they're also Thursday nights, 9 to 11 p.m. Central Time. Tomorrow night's a special. Thank you, Brian. We'll speak to Brian in 10 minutes. We need to talk about a few things on the way. Here's Senator Fetterman speaking to Joe Rogan about the Democrats' strategies regarding illegal immigration. Take a listen.
Significant number of illegal aliens being allowed into the country every year. I think it was 2 million people. So it was still the same sort of situation, and their fear is exactly what I talked about, that these people will be moved to swing states, and that will be used to essentially rig those states and turn them blue forever.
Well, I'm not really sure if that's what's in play. I think it's really it's important that we have to have an honest conversation.
But doesn't that seem logical, though? If you have a significant number of people that are being moved into swing states that have come across the border illegally, and then you've provided them with all these services, you provided them with food stamps, EBT, you've provided them with housing. You could, if you gave those people amnesty and allowed those people to vote, and it was very organized. You're talking about 75,000 votes over a few counties that switched everything over to the Republicans. You could see how you import 10 million people over the course of 4 years illegally, and then move a significant number of them to swing states, and then provide them with all these services, and then give them a path to citizenship. You could essentially rig those states.
Undeniably, immigration is changing our nation. I mean, I haven't spent a lot of time in Texas, but it's very clear that immigration has remade Texas, and I think it's for a good thing.
Interesting. That's Senator John Fetterman. Elon Musk got us all excited over the weekend talking about the Department of Government Efficiency. Just FYI, if you're interested in joining the Department of Government Efficiency, we do have the official field agent shirts. You can get it with the official logo, the insignia. Department of Government Efficiency t-shirts available at forlibertyshop.com. The front has the seal of the Department of Government Efficiency. It says, "In Musk we trust," with a beautiful little Doge. And on the back, signifying your status as a Doge field agent. You can get those at forlibertyshop.com. That's the number 4, libertyshop.com.
We'll reduce a lot of government headcount, but we're going to give, I think, like very long severances, like 2 years or something like that. So, look, just go do something else is what we're going to say, and you'll get paid for 2 years. So you got a lot of time to go and figure out something else to do. It's like the point is not to be cruel or to have people not be able to pay their mortgage or anything. It's just that we just have too many people in the government sector, and that they could be more productive elsewhere. We will reduce.
Yes, this is what I want. This is what we need. Afuera, 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 like Javier Milei. I need to get a Javier Milei Fuera button on here. You know what I'm saying? Like I got Greta Thunberg, for God's sakes. I need a Javier Milei Fuera. Good morning. I'm Austin Peterson. Glad and thankful to have you here on the Wake Up America show. Click like and sub. Sarakab, sakadab, surakarabagaba, suba, suck it up. Like, come on.
Kamala did what Kamala always does. She just put her head down and she went to work.
Oh, girl. I don't know if you want to send Doug Emhoff out there to speak when he's talking like that with that dirty mouth.
Do not come. Do not come.
I'm going to come.
Oh.
What will we do with this moment? How will we be remembered? Look at the opportunities before us.
This election really isn't about the left versus the right. It's about we the people choosing our government and the choice between freedom versus tyranny.
Nobody has a chronic disease burden like we have. Why are we allowing this to happen to our children? Ultimately, the only thing that will save our country is if we choose to love our kids more than we hate each other.
What is going on here is deeper than politics. It is deeply spiritual. We are being called to rise above the hatred and the fear and the evil.
And it's the people who are making America great again.
Making that news. All right, this is it. The Libertarian case for Trump. When we get back, don't go away. I'm not going away for very long. I'm going to go get Brian Piotr, the only Libertarian who nominated him at the convention, the LP convention. We'll talk about that with him, the host of Liberty Tonight, when we get back. 2 shakes of a lamb's tail. We'll be right back on the Wake Up America show on the 4 Liberty Network.
Are you tired of the strange radioactive effects of leftist culture? Do you ever wonder what happened to good old-fashioned American values? Well, fear no more, because there's a new force fighting back against the cultural rot of today. Introducing Culturama, a right-of-center talk show that's taking back the future today. Hosted by none other than blonde bombshell herself, Daniela Pensack. She's not just talking, she's taking culture back. With sharp takes, brilliant guests, and a few surprises along the way. Tune in to the live video podcast twice a week, because the future doesn't have to be weird. It can be Culturama.
If there wasn't going to be somebody who was a fiery champion of liberty, somebody who would get out there and who would be aggressive, and if they wouldn't do it with more fire or passion than I had, then I would go and I would fight this battle for us. I've fought for the principles that we all share. Parties tend to be secondary to me. We're here because we believe in the principles of liberty. I am not a perfect messenger, but I think I'm a damn good one. This is a replica of our first president's flintlock pistol. You have my full support, my respect, and my gun.
I think that at the heart of my philosophy is much more libertarianism than well, that's the fashionable word these days, I guess. A conservative is no longer just that. He's a libertarian and always has been.
Yet any time you and I question the schemes of the do-gooders, we're denounced as being against their humanitarian goals. They say we're always against things, we're never for anything. What is fascism? Fascism.
On 4.
I'm Brian Piotr, New Mexico. I would like to nominate the greatest president of our time, Donald J. Trump.
Point of parliamentary inquiry.
Good morning. Rise and freedom. I'm Austin Peterson. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America show on the 4 Liberty Network. Voting for the greatest president as a libertarian? At the Libertarian National Convention, there was one libertarian who had the foresight to see what was coming. I wonder how many of those people who booed him are voting for Donald Trump today. Joining us live right now, the host of Liberty Tonight at rumble.com/Liberty Tonight. Catch him on his election night special along with King Libertarian tomorrow night, 9 to 11 p.m. Central Time. Brian Piotr joining us live this morning. Good morning, Brian. Nice to see you, sir.
Good morning. Thank you for having me on, Austin. For everyone watching and who doesn't want to watch those losers at Fox News who called Arizona at the close in 2020, come over and watch us at Liberty Tonight. I promise that we'll use our analysts to actually call things in a good way that actually makes us all happy when things are too close to call. You know, we're not going to shove stuff down your throat that was apparently a coin flip. So please come over. It'll be 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Central. We're not going to do a boring YouTube podcast. It's going to be an entertaining show. I hope you all enjoy it.
Dad Bod Baboon says he watched a movie this weekend about the rise of the greatest president of all time, Pedro. He will make all your dreams come true. Vote for Trump. He will make all your dreams come true. Why vote for Donald Trump as a small L libertarian, big L libertarian? Why vote for Trump over the libertarian candidate?
So here's the thing. I'm speaking straight to libertarians. Let's be serious for a second. We don't have John McCain. We don't have Dick Cheney, George Bush, these terrible Republicans that gave us a reason to go libertarian. We have a man who's brought in Elon Musk and by proxy Ron Paul with olive branches being extended to us at the Libertarian Convention saying we'll put a libertarian in the candidate or in the cabinet. Like, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. If we actually show support for Donald Trump, the Republicans will see that, and they will make that a recurring theme to reach out to libertarians on a regular basis because they know they'll get our votes if they pander to us. And then we can actually vote for what we want. If we don't show up for them, we don't show up for Donald Trump, they're going to say that was a waste of time. And in the future, they'll go find other places to pander to. We want to be pandered to. We want less government. We want to end the Fed. We want machine guns for everybody. If we want our ideas to go places, we have to respond when the biggest, most likely to win candidate reaches out to us and panders to us with things we actually want. You know, freeing Ross Ulbricht is what he promised at the convention. That would be fantastic. You know, he's rotten in prison right now. And if Kamala Harris wins, he's not getting out. I promise you.
Now, here's the problem, though, Brian. I wonder how you will answer this, is that libertarians obviously very rarely lockstep on everything. It's not to say that the left hasn't pandered to libertarians in some ways. For example, Tim Walz of Minnesota, the VP candidate for the Democrats, talked about the people who aren't voting for Donald Trump. He talked about the libertarians, the Liz Cheneys and others, the don't tread on me types that were on board with him. And certainly if you look at the voting records for this election, at many of the staffers of Reason magazine, one of the biggest libertarian periodicals and networks in the world, none of them are voting for Donald Trump. Many of them are voting for Chase Oliver, the candidate of the party, but they're also many of them voting for Kamala Harris. So maybe there are some libertarians who are not going to go our way. What would you say about them, and how would you address that?
I'd say if you think that Kamala Harris will reduce the size or scope or regulation or taxes or anything to do with government, that you are taking too much LSD or on something that you should get off of. That is the least likely thing to happen in the whole wide world. Obviously, Trump will not accomplish everything he wants to accomplish, but at least he has put together a team that will try. You know, RFK Jr. isn't perfect on some things, but he really does want to deal with corruption in the FDA. and make Americans more healthy again, which is a serious problem. Our food industry and drug industry are poisoning us. That's a fact. If it wasn't for RFK, nothing will happen in that corner. And Trump will let him go to work. Trump will actually put RFK in a place where he can make a difference. Now, will that get rid of the FDA? Is RFK Jr. on a libertarian bent to just get rid of these organizations? No, he believes in efficient regulation, which is not libertarian, but it's definitely a 10x or 100x improvement from where we are today, 100%. And that's down the line. The whole team of Avengers, not the actual Avengers, which are going for Kamala, but the team that has Trump's back right now. Vivek Ramaswamy could end up someplace where he really does make a difference, and he is extremely libertarian. Tulsi Gabbard, anti-foreign policy. If she ends up anywhere in the State Department or someplace like that, that's a huge improvement over whatever goon will be put in there by Kamala Harris. And there's that way all the way down the line. John Bolton, the McCains, the Bushes, all the neocons have left the plantation. We want to keep them out forever, replace them with libertarians. This could be a new Republican Party. And if we support Donald Trump, we can actually make the change permanent. If Trump loses this change, this wave, this tidal wave, it all comes rushing back, and the neocons could take over again and give us no options in the future.
That's good stuff. Brian Piotr, he is the host of Liberty Tonight. He'll be doing election night coverage tomorrow night from 9 to 11 p.m. Central. You'll be able to find him at rumble.com/Liberty Tonight. Now, the Ron Paul factor probably can't be overstated, Brian, because when Elon Musk tweeted over the weekend that, Ron Paul should have a position in the Department of Government Efficiency, a lot of people who came of age during the Ron Paul years, myself included, got how you might say a bit excited, if you will, kind of happy. I mean, most of us were inspired to activism because of Ron Paul. The idea that Paul, who after having not been able to accomplish anything in Washington, D.C. while he was there, could return to have the last laugh. It would be kind of a miracle.
Yes, and honestly, I just want to put my resume out there. I'll work for free in any position where I get to fire government employees. I would love to work for Dr. Paul.
Even if I get to fire myself at the end of it, if the last firing that happens is me, I'm fine with that.
Absolutely.
I'm happy. It'll be like a pop-up shop, like Christmas season, right? We go and we'll get like cardboard boxes and we'll help people to take off their desks, and I'll do some of the labor, and stuff like that. I'll have my baby in one arm and I'll be carrying some government lady's purse, down the street, helping her get to her car and pack up the car and everything like that. I'm willing to do it. And then I'll get in the car myself and we'll all just leave. Go back home.
Yeah, absolutely. I will go to any city in America. I'll go to Greenland, wherever we have government employees that need gone. And 100%, I will just work my butt off to fire them. Let's do it. Let's bring back the whole Ron Paul movement of 2008 and 2012, actually go take over Washington, D.C., influence a whole new generation in what we were raised in to make changes and actually deliver for liberty. And what liberty actually means is freedom. The freedom to do what you need to pursue happiness for you and your family, and not be regulated to death, and not be taxed to death, and have crime in the streets, but actually if you defend yourself, you go to jail. Like, to not live in this dystopian, woke-topian world. Let's actually go change the world, guys. This is a white pill. This is our moment, but it will not happen if we don't vote for Donald Trump. And I think most importantly, we need to see the turnout for the Libertarian Party be at least a standard deviation or two below normal, or like over the previous 4 or 5 cycles. So if we could have a turnout for Chase Oliver below 2% or even below 1%, I think that shows all of the Republican Party that what they did actually worked and that they should do it again. And from there, like, we could see the next 3 or 4 cycles move more and more libertarian. And actually, we say libertarian, but what we mean is the politics of our founders, what this country was built on. Thomas Jefferson's family seal said death to tyrants is obedience to God. And I fully believe that. We do not want to deal with any tyrants in this country, and we have way too many.
Amen. Amen. Brian Piotr, click the like button and subscribe to the channel by clicking follow over at rumble.com/AP for Liberty. We'd love to have you be a regular guest here on the Wake Up America show and hang out with us in the live chat. Brian, my next question, it will be a tricky question. It will be a difficult question, perhaps even a bit slippery, but rest assured, I'm trying to lay out the facts of the situation as we make the libertarian case for Trump. Many of the people who have jumped on board the Trump train have done so only in the past few weeks. Things like Elon Musk and Ron Paul and the Department of Government Efficiency and RFK and Tulsi Gabbard have brought a lot more libertarians on. But there was this big a kerfuffle in the liberty movement over the past year. I beefed with Dave Smith over it. I've been unable to convince Judge Napolitano successfully to join Donald Trump because of this issue. And there's a big rift in the liberty movement on that in regards to the foreign policy issue. After October 7th, with the terrorist attack on Hamas, there were a lot of libertarians who were very anti-Trump for the reason that they called him a blood-soaked monster who is a war criminal that should spend the rest of his life in jail. Now, many of those, like Dave Smith and others, who think that or thought that Donald Trump was a war criminal and should spend the rest of his life in prison, are endorsing him, will be voting for that war criminal. Do you think, what are the factors that would change someone's mind? Notably, Dave Smith seems to have changed his mind. Maybe he still thinks he's a war criminal. Maybe he doesn't. Judge Napolitano, though, because of the Israel-Gaza issue and the foreign policy question here, will not support Donald Trump because he doesn't think there will be any change. That doesn't bother you the way that bothers other people, but some people have gotten on board. What's your analysis of that, policy scuffle?
I'd say that is absolutely nitpicking at this point, and here is why. We had unknown number, maybe 10, maybe 12 million people come into this country over the last 3.5 years, all illegally, many of them criminals, many of them murderers. We have crime rampant in our streets that is not being enforced. We have homeless going crazy, tens of thousands of homeless, tent cities. Like, this country has huge, very serious problems. Tens of thousands of people dying of fentanyl every year. It's not that the lives in Gaza or any other country aren't important. I care about lives everywhere in this world. It's simply that the priorities of this country should be American lives, and we have serious problems that need to be dealt with. If Kamala Harris wins, it will get worse. This country will see more death, destruction, and poverty in this country. And that is very important to me as a father of 4 who does not want to see that in my kids' lives or my grandkids' lives. I want to see prosperity and peace led by Americans. So
I agree with you. But then does that make the anti-war thing sort of a LARP, in the sense that he's not really a blood-soaked monster who should spend the rest of his life in jail, right?
How many lives does $100 billion to Ukraine cost in the world? Like, first of all, we're financing those deaths right now under the current administration. I believe Trump will end the gravy train. And that, in turn, will be a return on investment of tens of thousands less deaths in the Ukraine-Russian war, because it will not be able to continue without our blood money. So,
do you understand why I push on this, Brian? Do you kind of understand, like, I know it's a sore spot and I'm picking at it a little bit, like, maybe it was scabbing over, but it's important for us to sort of have this discussion, especially in this point in time. You were booed by many of these people when you went to go nominate Donald Trump. Turns out you were seeing the future. You were prescient. Now they're jumping on board in the last 2 weeks when, the Summershine Patriots are all jumping on, for it costs them nothing to be a patriot to an extent, right? So is anti-war a LARP? Is it really just not the most important thing right now, which is what it appears as if you're communicating that to me?
No, anti-war is very important, but World War III is different than small engagements in different countries around the world. So, like, what is happening in Gaza and in Israel may be on the order of 10 or 20, 30,000 lives, which is not to downplay the fact that those lives are important. But how many lives might be lost in World War III or here in America?
But our lives are more important. Our lives are more important. American lives, number one, America first. Like the people that are on our streets and the problems that the United States faces are more important and should be the primary concern of our leaders over the citizens of Gaza.
Absolutely. And I would believe that Israeli leaders should focus on Israeli citizens and their lives and their best interests above American homelessness. You know, I wouldn't expect Israel to send me $10 billion to deal with our fentanyl epidemic.
I would. They've got a lot of
it's
money.
our problem.
I would, because they actually have the money, unlike the poverty-stricken terrorists that blow themselves up in the Middle East. We got them with their pagers, though, recently. Brian Piotr joining us live right now. He's the host of Liberty Tonight. He's making the libertarian case for Trump. Okay, moving on. On the libertarian case for Trump, though, let's see. Trump's campaign, the coalition. Oh, the Javier Milei factor. So you can't discount, talking about what's happening around the world. Exactly. Afuera, right? You can't discount the possible Donald Trump, Javier Milei team up going forward. He's the most libertarian elected president in all of history. There are a lot of international questions that can be alliances that can be forged with people like that. There is sort of, if you look at Giorgia Meloni of Italy, she is someone that is a big Trump fan as well. There is a sort of international coalition of populists and libertarians and conservatives that could work together to rise up against the global order, right?
Absolutely. And not to mention that, but just the American economy has such an undue influence on the world that both the dollar and our effect on the oil prices. If we choose to drill our own oil, energy for the entire world will get cheaper. That'll affect places like India as well as Argentina and Russia. Russia's ability to fight the war will be cut in half because they will have lower prices for their oil, which is already marked up or marked down because of the fact that they have to go around international sanctions, like transfer it to India first before selling it. So globally, Trump will be able to have a huge influence on all countries, both enemies and allies, and hopefully be able to make new partnerships in places like Italy and Argentina, where we have ready to go allies for Donald Trump that are getting the cold shoulder from the Harris administration.
That's Brian Piotr, host of Liberty Tonight. Do not miss his show, Election Night Coverage, right here on Rumble at rumble.com/Liberty Tonight. Their regular schedule is every Thursday from 9 to 11 p.m. Central Time. You don't want to miss it. It's easy to find all of our shows on the For Liberty Network at forlibertynetwork.com. We don't want to miss any opportunities to hang out with you day or night. We are a 3-show network at this point, and hopefully we'll be adding more after the new year. Brian, any final thoughts on the election tomorrow? Anything that you'd like to add specifically? I'll give you the floor and make your final argument on the Libertarians for Trump case.
I think you've already heard it. Go vote. Vote in person. Vote where you have to show your ID, videotape anything that looks funny and put it on X. If you go to my Twitter account or my X account and repost my post asking people to vote for Donald Trump, I will follow you back. Let's be friends. And thank you so much for having me on this morning, Austin.
There we go. Thank you, Brian. We'll see you here tomorrow night, rumble.com/Liberty Tonight. Hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you, Brian, and be good at it.
A lot of government headcount, but we're going to give, I think, like very long severances, like 2 years or something like that. So, look, just go do something else is what we're going to say, and you'll get paid for 2 years. And so you got a lot of time to go and figure out something else to do. It's like the point is not to be cruel or to have people not be able to pay their mortgage or anything. It's just that we just have too many people in the government sector, and that they could be more productive elsewhere. We will reduce a lot.
Here we go. The government employees that Elon Musk would fire if he becomes the head of the Department of Government Efficiency. Love to hear your thoughts on this. You can actually text this show anytime, night or day. Monday through Friday, the show is live, but you can send me a text message any time of the day, baby. 573-319-1586 is the text line. Again, 573-319-1586. I'm really excited to be on the front page of Rumble today, and I hope that I can hang out with you again tomorrow at 7 a.m. Central Time. And if you'd like to have your voice be heard on the show today, again, text us at 573-319-1586. The text lines are open. The Libertarian case for Trump. What does Angela McCardle, who is the head of the Libertarian Party, have to say? She's going to join us live 10 minutes from now. It's all about boots on the ground in Pennsylvania, in Georgia, in Arizona, and in Iowa. What are we talking about Iowa for? Apparently, Democratic pollster, who was accurate last time, says Iowa is going to go for Trump. And in other news, Kamala Harris appeared on Saturday Night Live over the weekend. The FCC commissioner got a little bit miffed when he saw they're all smiling and laughing. They're cheering so loudly for her. They didn't like her, and many of them actively disliked her weeks ago. Now they love her. All right, you got me there on that one. All right. It's the Wake Up America show. We'd love to have you be a regular guest and come back and join us again. We've got a lot of great election coverage for you, and we still have more excellent guests to go. We're very grateful for Rumble.com for stepping in this morning and hooking us up and telling us a little bit about this incredible story that I can't wait to share with you very quickly about a family that is supporting this channel. 7 years ago, they had a brother who returned from Afghanistan with severe injuries. He became a shell of his former self. At the same time, one of his brothers was diagnosed with something less than 1,000 people in the United States have. He was given a few months to live because of things. And I use the word things since the FDA won't actually let us mention any specific. Several people suggested using CBD, so they tried dozens of CBD products. Nothing helped, so they began creating the products that they wished existed. They started making it to help friends and family have CBD that they knew was as clean and powerful as humanly possible. Doctors started asking to carry it, and it took off. Now, they speak at medical conventions and help others across the United States. Now, while most companies have about 1 to 10 compounds in their CBD oil, their oil has up to 50. They make balms, gummies, pet products, etc. They're called Emerald Med. You should check these guys out. If you get CBD from them and you don't notice a difference, they will provide a refund. If you want to support a company that supports my channel and free speech with their marketing dollars, and you need a source for CBD that's real, click below to try Emerald Med. 40% off. Support extreme muscle and joint aches, support quality sleep, or even daytime calm. They're worth a try at least once. Just click the link below and use the code for 40% off up to 2 orders today. There you go. Thank you very much. 2 items. Excuse me. All right. Angela McCardle, the chair of the Libertarian National Committee. She's received much scorn, hatred, and division for the influence that she's had on Donald Trump. She's going to share with us what they talked about at dinner recently when we get back. Don't go away. It's the Wake Up America show on the 4 Liberty Network. We started this journey together, bringing you the Wake Up America show every morning. I couldn't have done it without my incredible wife, Steffi, who's always by my side, and now our beautiful baby, Hazel, who's already getting used to studio life, waiting patiently during Freedom Family Fridays. Well, what truly makes this show special is you. Your donations, your purchases from forlibertyshop.com. You're not just supporters, you're family. Together we've built something amazing, and we're just getting started. Thank you for being a part of our family. Here's to many more years of Wake Up America.
I'm Donald Trump, and I approve this message. Believe me, Austin Peterson is the best. He's got the greatest Wake Up America show I've ever seen. Whenever I tune in the mornings and watch the live stream, let me tell you, he has got the absolute best content. I love his guests. It's just a total blast to watch, and I highly endorse and recommend the Wake Up America show. It's terrific, believe me.
Somebody who would get out there and
Is the outdoor your home about as exciting as a library? Then spice it up and unboard your space with our custom metal signs. Crafted with love and a bit of libertarian magic, you can customize your own metal sign at ap4libertyshop.com. So head to ap4libertyshop.com, customize your own metal sign today.
Welcome to a world of vocal discovery at Peterson Voice Studio. I'm Justin Peterson, here to guide your musical journey. Envision a place where your voice reaches new heights, where every note tells a story. We embrace all singers, from the enthusiastic shower vocalists to aspiring stars, ensuring each voice finds its unique rhythm and tone. Are you ready to elevate your voice? Visit petersonvoicestudio.com and sign up for remote lessons tailored just for you. Let's begin this melodious journey together.
Tired of spending your hard-earned money on woke corporations that don't share your pro-freedom values? Fed up with sipping liberal lattes and progressive cappuccinos? Introducing Founding Flavors from AP for Liberty Shop. Get your day started with Washington's Revolutionary Roast. As robust and principled as the man himself, this blend is the shot of energy heard round the world. Or maybe you want to taste the fervor of freedom with Adams's Patriotic Perk. It's as dynamic and balanced as the U.S. Constitution, sure to awaken your spirit of liberty. For the aficionados, we've got the Jeffersonian Java, a complex mix of flavors that speaks volumes about your refined tastes. And don't forget Betsy's Liberty Lullaby, our decaf option, crafted with the same care and dedication Betsy Ross put into our Star-Spangled Banner. This blend lets you enjoy the taste of freedom anytime without losing sleep. No woke beans here, folks. Just pure, patriotic, pro-freedom flavors brewed with love for liberty. So why compromise your principles for a cup of coffee? Stand up for your values, perk up your patriotism, and start your day the American way. Get your Founding Flavors at apforlibertyshop.com.
And we are just 3 days away from the greatest political victory in the history of our country, I guess in the history of the world. But it only happens if you vote. If you don't vote, then bad things could be happening. You'll be very depressed. And we don't want to have depression, right? There's no depression. You know the best way to stop depression? Work your ass off. Work your ass off. You don't have time. You want to work so hard that you don't have time for depression. But I didn't come here looking for your money. I don't need your money. I don't want your money. All I want you to do is get out and vote.
Get out and vote. Good morning. Rise in freedom. I'm Austin Peterson. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America show on the For Liberty Network. Happy Election Day Eve. As Robbie Thurman said a little bit earlier, Insurrection Day Eve. No, don't you say that, Robbie. How dare you? Send me a text at 573-319-1586. One of my friends texted me this morning. He says, the government is too big. Let's create another government department to deal with it. Sounds like the typical way government tries to solve problems. I think that's the joke, right? The Department of Government Efficiency. You know, the one that Elon Musk is going to have do things like this.
We will reduce a lot of government headcount, but we're going to give, I think, like very long severances, like 2 years or something like that. So, look, just go do something else is what we're going to say, and you'll get paid for 2 years. You know, and so you got a lot of time to go and figure out something else to do. It's like the point is not to be cruel or to have people not be able to pay their mortgage or anything. It's just that we just have too many people in the government sector, and that they could be more productive elsewhere.
Hell yes. You love to see it. In just a couple of minutes, we're going to hear from Angela McCardle. Her Zoom software needed an update. Whoop, there she is. I'm going to go get her on the call. I'll be right back. Please stand by. Avoid you violating any fiduciary responsibilities. We know how dangerous that can be for you. You're in a difficult spot, Angela, but I saw a picture of you sitting down with Donald Trump and you had a very productive conversation with him. What was that conversation like and about?
We talked about all kinds of things, really. We talked about, libertarianism, the libertarian view on drug decriminalization, cannabis, fentanyl, the border. We talked about DeSantis a little bit. We talked about freeing Ross Ulbricht, and abolishing the Department of Education. It was a fantastic conversation.
But you're the chair of the Libertarian Party. You're supposed to be promoting Chase Oliver. Your critics are saying that you're in the tank for Trump and you're not supporting your own candidate enough. So much that they're suing you, and it's become a big scuffle this year. How do you respond to your critics?
Well, one of those lawsuits was filed prior to our national convention. I would say that they're all sore losers with they're exuding loser energy. They're very angry that we've made actual advancements to liberty as opposed to focusing on the social club element of the Libertarian Party, which is incredibly toxic and unproductive. They're mad about a lot of things. They're not just mad about Donald Trump. I wish them a very die mad. I really do. I'm super excited about the advancements that I've made for the party and for liberty. We're just sort of white knuckling it through. And of course, I still endorse Chase Oliver as the best way to take votes from Kamala Harris.
Okay, so a vote for Chase Oliver is a vote for Donald Trump, I might suggest. Not Angela, but in those states that matter. But it's a difficult position to be in, Angela, because as I see it, the best case for libertarians is to not vote for Chase Oliver, but in any opportunity, in any situation, to vote for Donald Trump. And many libertarians, especially from the Mises caucus, of which you are affiliated, that brought you to power in the national convention, many of them are now openly supporting Donald Trump. Is that a difficult thing for you to see, that members of the party which you're in charge of, to see them openly supporting another party's candidate?
It's very tragic. I cry myself to sleep every night. It's very tragic. People are super excited about the coalition. And I don't think that President Trump minds me saying a lot of people who have decided to cast a vote for him are not voting for him in particular. They're voting for Elon Musk. They're voting for Ron Paul now, who's been invited. They're voting for, the Kennedy Maha stuff. They're voting for this big coalition. They're voting to get Ross Ulbricht out of prison and to give this man his life back. They're voting to see an end to capital gains on Bitcoin. There's a lot of really exciting things and momentum. It's a coalition. I am a strong advocate of coalitioning. I've been doing that since I was elected as national chair because I think that's the way to go. It's kind of like asymmetrical warfare. You don't get to punch up directly. You got to find kind of creative ways to do it. And that's what, we've been doing with this campaign too. So I'm grateful and excited to be a part of it.
It would be great if Donald Trump accomplished all of those things. Libertarians, we do have some gripes with Donald Trump's on perhaps issues like tariffs or even immigration, et cetera. But many of the libertarians who are now openly supporting Trump were, viciously critical of him, specifically on foreign policy, saying things like Donald Trump is a blood-soaked monster who should spend the rest of his life in jail as a war criminal. Do you agree with that sentiment?
Wait, do I agree with which sentiment?
Donald Trump, this is the quote, Donald Trump is with Bush and Cheney as a blood-soaked monster who should spend the rest of his life, a war criminal who should spend the rest of his life in jail. Do you agree with that?
I think that Donald Trump has learned a lot, and I think that some of the people who were around him in 2016 should spend the rest of their lives in jail because they're blood-soaked monsters. But I believe in the power of redemption, and I'm excited that he's saying he wants to see peace in the Middle East and end the wars, and I think we should see what happens and give him a shot. Not a literal shot. Give him a chance.
Okay, there we are. We're speaking to Angela McCardle. She is the head of the Libertarian Party. She came to power in the Libertarian Party alongside the Mises caucus, who tried to lead a takeover of the party. They were most successful in getting Angela McCardle elected. They were not able to get, at least the right-leaning libertarians, they were not able to get their candidate across the finish line to replace Chase Oliver. Maybe it's for the best, because maybe Chase Oliver is the best way to get Donald Trump reelected and to do things like free Ross Ulbricht and to put Ron Paul alongside Elon Musk in the Department of Government Efficiency. haha, the joke is to create a new government program that gets rid of government programs. But in reality, we all know that Elon Musk would not officially work for the government. But did you find something exciting about the potential to see, Ron Paul, who never passed a bill when he was in Congress, to come back with the actual power to do more than just pass a bill, but to hack and slash at government agencies? That must have been exciting.
It's amazing. It's amazing to see things come full circle, and for him, basically at towards the end of his life, get the credit and recognition that he deserves, and to get to come in and actually advise and see, like it's the perfect ending to his legacy. People really are going to say Ron Paul was right. And then we're going to actually get to see them advance his policies. It's like the perfect passing of the torch. I couldn't be more excited.
Yeah, it's very exciting. As myself, who started as a Ron Paul volunteer all the way back in 2007, campaigned for him mightily, and then through the Tea Party years to see where he was. And then sad to see him depart Congress because his voice was so important to advancing these ideas. But like Ron said, he was talking about the possibility of helping Elon's project. He doesn't want to have an official position, but maybe he serves in an advisory role. That doesn't happen under Kamala Harris. And I think it doesn't happen if you vote for Chase Oliver either. I can't imagine the amount of conflict you must be feeling internally, Angela. This has been a difficult year for you personally.
It's a struggle, I'm doing a lot of juggling and balancing, dealing with people who are very angry on social media. And that seems to be their strength, those angry people. Like they are very good at being angry on social media. But there's been actually a huge wave of support too. And I really appreciate that. I was very I was a little bit quieter about it leading up to all this, and in the last couple of weeks, I've really come out swinging because I think that it is important to shout out our accomplishments, talk about the advancements we've made, so that people understand, the political strategy behind it, the wheeling and dealing. The fact that we're able to engage in political strategy at the federal level is unprecedented in the Libertarian Party, and so I hope this is the new precedent that I set.
It's been interesting to see so many libertarians in the last few weeks breaking for Donald Trump because of things like the Ron Paul connection and Elon Musk. But we also have people like Vivek Ramaswamy. He has also engaged with the libertarian movement. He's called himself a libertarian nationalist, which I very much identify with as kind of an America First libertarian Republican and a former member of the Libertarian Party. I really see people like Vivek Ramaswamy as kind of the trailblazers for our movement. And then you have Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and Tulsi Gabbard. While they may not be libertarians, there are issues that we agree on. It sort of represents the triumph of pragmatism, not just amongst people like ourselves, not just libertarians, but people like Democrats, former Democrats. Tulsi, RFK, Elon was a liberal Democrat for years. So this coalition, it's very diverse. And while it may not be explicitly libertarian, it may be libertarian adjacent, but the independence of the Trump campaign is in itself it's a very much adjacent to our ideas, right? An outsider anti-establishment coalition. This is kind of the coalition, is it not?
I mean, do you think that it's more libertarian than Gary Johnson's presidency would have been?
You're asking the wrong guy for that. Well, maybe they're right. You're asking the right guy for that question.
I'm asking the right guy. I
don't know. It's
pretty
the
dang
left
libertarian.
libertarianism in the last 10 years has really turned into this kind of effete, establishment shilling. I'm very disappointed that I've seen. The shine really started to come off for Reason magazine people around my campaign for president in 2016, because I realized, after years of really kind of looking up to those people and putting them on television and making some of them, become famous, I realized that it was really more about being cool with being able to be invited to Meghan McCain's cocktail parties than it was about, because
it's defamatory hit piece after hit piece from them. They
Javier
hate
Milei.
what I'm doing.
They did it on Javier Milei. They hate what you're doing. Yeah.
They wish that I would just talk about abolishing seatbelt laws like the rest of the Beltway lawbirds. But sorry, instead, I'm going to maybe work with the people who want to, I don't know, cut $2 trillion from the federal budget. I wish you a very mad. That just, stay in Loserville, scream at the sun with the Kamala supporters. I hope they find solidarity.
Yeah, I will say that Brian Doherty and JD Tuchilian, there are some really good people over there, but it does feel as if
Doherty hates my guts.
does he? Oh, he was really fair to me back in 2016,
He
but
hates my guts.
I haven't read any of his
think
recent
he goes
pieces.
to bed at night tearing his hair out, thinking about what Angela's done to the
Really?
Libertarian Party.
No, I haven't read anything Brian Doherty's written about Angela, but maybe I should. But no, Brian was actually. I felt like Brian was fair back in 2016. Maybe he's not anymore. Maybe he's off the fence.
TDS,
Oh, the Trump derangement syndrome. It really is a weird phenomenon. And then it's like, it's strange because, for example, my good friend, Judge Napolitano, I've been trying to convince him to support Trump, but he won't do it because of the Gaza thing, at least from what I've been able to understand. And of course, the person who called Donald Trump a blood-soaked monster and a warmonger who should go to prison for the rest of his life is Dave Smith. So I was hoping that, like Dave Smith, that maybe the judge would see something more important in Donald Trump's movement, but he's very much hung up on that whole Israel-Gaza situation. But a lot of libertarians have decided that anti-war is not the most important issue, that the domestic issues here at home are the most important issues.
I am still very, very upset about what's going on in Gaza. And I hate the Israeli government. I really do. I love Jewish people and I hate the Israeli government. And I think that there's a better chance of what I view as atrocities ceasing overseas if we have someone like Donald Trump in office. And I'm trying to be realistic. And from my perspective, if I can save 100 people's lives, maybe that's not good enough for these radical weirdo absolutists in the Libertarian Party who are very angry at me, but I can guarantee you it means a world of difference to the 100 people whose lives that are saved overseas.
You see, there's something different about you, Angela. The thing about you that's very different from many libertarians, and the thing I admire about you, is you have a quality that many libertarians lack, and that is that you do not allow your dovishness or your desire for peace outweigh the realities that war is being waged against you, right? As the great George Washington famously said, "Sivi pacem parabellum." If you want peace, prepare for war. You are a fighter, Angela McCardle. You are a kickboxer in the ring. You are the man in the arena, and you're taking shots and you're taking hits and you're giving as good as you get. But I think that the pacifism of the libertarian movement, which manifests itself in this obsession with Middle Eastern policy, hamstrings the libertarian movement because of the application of the non-aggression principle to extremely complex internecine and ethnic and religious hatreds, ancient religious hatreds, a sort of obsession that I think has hamstrung us because of our ultimately a dovishness, which leads us to make, I think, consequential decisions based around our desire to have a consistent application of philosophy to politics, which is rather inconsistent, is it not?
It's extremely inconsistent. It results in analysis paralysis, where you do nothing, where we're all supposed to be armed to the teeth, these gun-toting weirdos, and we end up extreme pacifists. We're willing to let people trample over our rights and then do nothing where we potentially could save lives overseas. And so I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to save as many lives as I can. I'm going to pull the stupid trolley thing, and I'm just going to do what I can, and everybody else can sit on the sidelines and point and jeer and be mad and do absolutely nothing and make no progress.
Good for you, Angela. You're a fighter, and I appreciate that about you. You're applying strategy, right? You're very pragmatic, and I think, while still holding to your principles. But I think, like you, Dave Smith, many other libertarians who are jumping on board the Trump campaign, we realize that we have to make pragmatic decisions. I can't support Chase Oliver for many reasons. He's very good on anti-war stuff, perhaps, but maybe not so good on the issues that are going to impact my newborn child who's 3 months old when the transgender craze, inevitably reaches its crest at some point. Hopefully we beat it back. But if this becomes normalized in our society, then I become more and more of an outcast in my own country that I was born in, because I resist that kind of gender tyranny that the left forces upon us. I can't allow that to happen. I can't.
It's a to prioritize your own well-being and the safety and well-being of your children. And that's something that libertarians really don't understand. And that's where we get into this pacifism and paralysis. It's like you have to defend yourself. Like I am going to defend myself, defend my family. I'm going to advance our rights. And I hope that when I do that, I'm able to advance the rights of others well. But we have the order of operations. It really does matter.
Now, it sometimes feels as if like the liberty movement is living almost in two worlds, and the people inside the Beltway are completely out of touch with the liberty movement writ large.
Yes.
And Lily Tang Williams, who I've known for over a decade, been a libertarian activist for years in New Hampshire running for office, has just become a national celebrity. There's too much blackpilling going on. Look at the potential. Look at the victory.
She's amazing.
I mean, think about it. If imagine if we had 10 more Lily Tang Williams, where we would be, Angela, right? Isn't it time for libertarians to take the white pill?
It's a white pill. This is the year of hope. I'm so hopeful.
I'm really happy that you joined us today. I'm speaking to Angela McCardle. Look, it's Liz over in the chat says, great guest today. Really cheered me up, AP. We appreciate Angela McCardle for joining us here today. She's the chair of the Libertarian National Committee. Please click the like button and then click the follow button underneath Rumble. We'd love to have you come back here and join us for our election special. So any predictions? I want to give you the last word, Angela. Give your, Braveheart, William Wallace, freedom speech in the last 48 hours or less for the election from now till tomorrow, speaking as the chair of the Libertarian National Committee, or maybe even speaking as yourself as a human being. Any predictions, politics, rants, things that you'd like to share? I give you the stage.
My prediction is Donald Trump wins the popular vote by 51.5%. We'll see if that happens. If you like the work that I'm doing, if you want to see us be fixers and not spoilers, you need to support the Libertarian Party, because if we all evaporate and join the GOP, our power disappears. We have strength as simultaneously the least likely to get elected, but the most powerful voting bloc in the country. We signal to the independent votes and the swing votes where they should cast their vote. If you want to see more campaigns in the GOP improve and adopt libertarian positions, please support the LP. I don't care who you vote for when it comes to the president. Support the Libertarian Party so that we can give you the best possible options. And of course, if the GOP in 4 years decides to run a Mitt Romney type character, you can be guaranteed that I will run someone like Dave Smith and absolutely wreck them. But if they run another amazing candidate, maybe I'll churn out another Chase.
Here we go. That's Angela McCardle. She's the chair of the Libertarian National Convention. Thank you. I know it's busy in the hours before Election Day. Thank you for being so generous with your time, Angela. We appreciate you. Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
Because as I've traveled around this state, from my neighborhood in Nashua all the way up to the North Country, I see Ukrainian flags everywhere I go. The people of New Hampshire understand that this is a fight for freedom and it's a fight for democracy. This is an unjust war that Vladimir Putin waged against a sovereign nation. My opponent believes that the path to peace is through Vladimir Putin. I know from my own professional experience that that is just so dead wrong. Early in my career, if I could finish please, early in my career, I worked for Senator John McCain to take on Vladimir Putin. I'm banned from Russia for life because of that work. And I believe deeply in the cause of freedom in Ukraine.
Ms. Tom Williams, 30 seconds.
You math cannot add up, okay? And I'm very good with math. Maybe that's stereotype for aging Americans. If you want to pay all the stuff you want to pay, then do your math. How are we going to pay for it? Show me the path. Borrow money from China or print money to drive up inflation. And you say Ukrainian flag everywhere in Nashua. I have not seen that many. As I said, if Democrats want to do this, billionaires want to do this, neocons want to do this, please do. Donate your own money. So many people have died. It's time to bring peace and talk to the table. President Trump is talking about he will be for peace deals as soon as he gets elected. We cannot afford to engage in endless wars And your husband, Jake Sullivan, National Security Advisor, is causing world on fire because he's incompetent. He should get fired.
Oh my God, Lily! You killed her! That is Lily Tang Williams. That is the strategy of the takeover of the Republican Party. That's what I've been telling you about for years. And let me tell you that a lot of these libertarians, a lot of these people canceled Lily recently. Boo. Because they didn't like her position on Israel. Same as Donald Trump's, same as Javier Milei's, same as Ayn Rand's, same as mine, baby girl. And baby boys. That's right. I'm with Lily.
Republicans, though, right? You got Lily Tang Williams,
boo.
right here.
Boo.
Lily Tang Williams was from Colorado. She ran in the Libertarian Party of Colorado.
I'm not booing Lily, by the way.
No one knew who she was. Mm-hmm. She moved to New Hampshire. She's now leading candidate for a congressional office under the Republican Party. She has a huge following. She goes on Tucker Carlson in this show all the time. We have 100 libertarians elected to the state house in New Hampshire. We have a dozen people who are as radical as Ron Paul or more. No one knows who they are. More people need to know who Travis Corcoran and Tom Mannion and Keith Hammond are.
I don't know. If they don't know who they are, they can't stop them.
Right. And so they,
maybe stay under the radar.
Come to New Hampshire. We have people, we got at least like a dozen people, maybe as many as 50 people running as Democrats this year.
Yep.
We're free staters any way we can get it. We got people underwater. We got people in the AG office now. We got people in.
What an amazing show. You know how hard I work? How hard I work? These are I'm very Tang Williams. Lily's got a good sense of humor. She won't mind me teasing her. Riri Tang Williams. We called her Riri Tang Williams back before Riri Tang Williams was Riri Tang Williams. We've got a lot to talk about tomorrow. You don't want to miss the show tomorrow night on the Wake Up America show. We are not going to be doing an election special. Oh. Don't be mad at me. The Liberty Tonight boys are taking over. Rumble.com/Liberty Tonight. Maybe they'll do a simul stream here on mine. I'll work that out for you guys. We'll be glad to have the Liberty Tonight boys streaming on all my channels, as well as at forlibertynetwork.com. Why don't we do that? Guys, do you enjoy the Wake Up America show? Yes. Do you want to become a field agent for Elon Musk and Ron Paul's Department of Government Efficiency? Yes. Well, guess what? You can. Go to forlibertyshop.com. That's the number 4libertyshop.com. And when you do, you can get your official Department of Government Efficiency Doge shirt in Musk We Trust over at forlibertyshop.com. That's the number 4libertyshop.com. Head on over to forlibertyshop.com. You can get that in the form of a t-shirt or a hoodie. And also maybe check out our Founding Flavors coffee. If you liked the show, don't forget to like and subscribe before you leave. We do not want to see you go until we have a chance to know you better. Give me a kiss before you leave. Grab your lunch, honey, as you head out the door. And then speak affirmations to yourself. Remind yourself you're capable of doing what it is that you have to do today. You have the power to do what you want to do today. Make sure that you say to yourself, speak positively to yourself, be kind to yourself, and also be gracious, right? Have gratitude. Think about all the wonderful things that we have in our life. In the last 48 hours, I know it seems tense. I know things are difficult, but just ask yourself this. What are some of the things around you in this life, in this world, that are really make life worth living? Will those things still be there the day after tomorrow? Right? Yes, of course, my beautiful baby will still be there, right? I'll still have my dad, still have my sister, still have my brother, still have my wife, still have my friends, still have my job here on the Wake Up America show. Thank you. I'll still be here. Be here Wednesday morning. I'll be here tomorrow morning. I'll be here Wednesday morning. I'm going to be right there with you guys. We're still going to keep, and no matter what happens, even if the worst outcome should occur, we will still have each other, and we will still have the fight for liberty. Make sure that you visit the Griff Shop on your way out, forlibertyshop.com, guys, and we'll see you right back here tomorrow morning on the Wake Up America show on the 4 Liberty Network.
you tired of the strange radioactive effects of leftist culture? Do you ever wonder what happened to good old-fashioned American values? Well, fear no more, because there's a new force fighting back against the cultural rot of today. Introducing Culturama, a right-of-center talk show that's taking back the future today. Hosted by none other than blonde bombshell herself, Daniela Pensack. She's not just talking, she's taking culture back. With sharp takes, brilliant guests, and a few surprises along the way. Tune in to the live video podcast twice a week, because the future doesn't have to be weird. It can be Culturama.
If there wasn't going to be somebody who was a fiery champion of liberty, somebody who would get out there and who would be aggressive, and if they wouldn't do it with more fire or passion than I had, then I would go and I would fight this battle for us. I've fought for the principles that we all share. Parties tend to be secondary to me. We're here because we believe in the principles of liberty. I am not a perfect messenger, but I think I'm a damn good one. This is a replica of our first president's flintlock pistol. You have my full support, my respect, and my gun.
I think that at the heart of my philosophy is much more libertarianism than well, that's the fashionable word these days, I guess. A conservative is no longer just that. He's a libertarian, and always has been. Yet any time you and I question the schemes of the do-gooders, we're denounced as being against their humanitarian goals. They say we're always against things, we're never for anything. What is fascism? Fascism is private ownership, private enterprise, but total government control and regulation. Well, the trouble with our liberal friends is not that they're ignorant. It's just that they know so much that isn't so. If we lose freedom here, there's no place to escape to. This is the last stand on earth. This is the issue of this election. Whether we believe in our capacity for self-government or whether we abandon the American Revolution and confess that a little intellectual elite in a far distant capital can plan our lives for us better than we can plan them ourselves. Conservative, so-called, is the one that says less government, get off my back, get out of my pocket, and let me have more control of my own destiny.
Do you hate the deep state? Do you reject the Antichrist in all his ways? Do you believe that aliens controlled LBJ to assassinate John F. Kennedy? Did you know that the shot can put chemicals in you that will make you more sensitive to 5G? Do you love America? Do you want more freedom? Do you like smoking hot red-headed libertarians? Then the AP for Liberty shop is for you! Check out all the awesome new merch and have a happy new year! Fight the deep state, reject the Antichrist. Visit AP for Liberty shop and get your patriotic merchandise now, or the deep state wins.
You ready to show your support and style? Well, Sticker Mule has a fantastic offer for you. For a limited time, you can grab free Trump stickers. Yes, you heard that right. Free Trump stickers. Whether you want to decorate your laptop, car, or office space, these high-quality, durable stickers are perfect for making a statement. Just imagine how great they'll look, and they're super easy to apply. Here's how it works. Head to stickerpack.com.